right, welcome to the Worst Fans Podcast. Different kind of topic today. First of all, let's do the introductions real quick. Marco below me and Buck right there. I have no idea where the videos are going to be, but right now I'm on top. So today's topic has to do with digital content. And digital content. We're in quite a world today in 2023 and have been for a little while. Back in the olden days, you used to have to go to a video rental store when you wanted to see a movie that made it to home video. Anyone here ever work in a video rental location? Oh, that guy. This guy here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the name of your video rental place? I think
Mine
I
was
remember.
Bob Rich
Bob.
Videos. It was
Bob Rich.
actually before Blockbuster, believe it or not. But
Damn.
yeah, it, man. It was like going to a club like on the weekends all the time. It was
Yeah.
packed. It was the
Packed.
best, man. I missed
Exciting
the
times.
smell. There's a smell when it came to the VHS tapes and even the DVDs. I missed those days. Renting a game
Oh
for the
yeah.
weekend. Oh yeah, it was something about
That
that
was
time.
the best. If you got to go out to dinner with the fam and then afterwards you like pull into the video place like yes, yes, yes. You could maybe pick out a movie for you that you'd watch first if you're a little kid, and then the parents
Yep.
afterwards. Or as times went on, you maybe get a video game, and they would get a movie for the parents to watch later. You just go play your game. Oh man, good times. And
Good
you never
time.
knew either, but you never know. It could be a crappy game, but you're like, oh, this is what I got, so I'm sticking with this game all weekend. You
Yep.
treasured that.
Yep.
So nowadays, it's I guess Marco, you do remember those times? They existed in
Yes,
your
yes. I
lifetime. So okay,
existed in the time of Blockbuster, yes.
yeah, there you go. Um, there were generations out there that definitely have
No, they have no
maybe
idea,
they've
yeah.
heard of this, but they have no idea the experience too.
Kids born in the
So
year 2000 will probably barely remember it because
barely
it's
remember it.
like, it's very, very, very slight.
Well, I mean, I would say it was started really going down like around 2009, 2010 when Blockbuster started like going down. Then
Yeah.
Netflix and
I'm just saying, like, kids
streaming.
born in like 2000,
Oh, yeah, I
2001,
see what you're saying. Yes, correct.
those kids
Yes,
probably don't remember it
right,
as much. I was born in 96,
right.
so I remember
Yeah.
roughly going into Blockbusters, getting rentals with you and dad, and just,
Right.
I remember those times.
Gotcha.
But kids probably born a little bit after me don't, because it's
I
like a
have no
very
idea.
vague memory.
No idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Absolutely.
so what spawned the topic is you have things now. About 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I became an advocate of digital game content. Really, digital movies too, because it was so convenient. Suddenly, you didn't have to have the movie in hand and you'll pop it into the disc and worry about a scratch or it skipping or anything like that. It was just digital. You download it or you stream it. Back then, streaming it happened, but the connections weren't nearly as good. So a lot of people just downloaded to a hard drive and you'd watch it digitally. Um, and that was kind of the new way. It's like, this is kind of modern. We have at this point, us collector types, we have shelves of movies and games and stuff. And it was just always, if you move or something, it's a lot to take with you. You got to find storage for it, keep it clean looking. And at some point, the media is an old format. Like I remember when DVD even went to, well, of course, VHS went to DVD. It was an entirely revolutionary situation.
Yep.
New hardware, of course. Well, there's new hardware in every type, but DVD to Blu-ray was one that was a real like, all right, so I'm getting still a digital movie. It's just in high definition now.
Yeah.
And you had to have the TV for it. So it was like, do I rebuy all the same movies? I think for me, that was when I ended up making very selective choices about which Blu-ray discs I'd buy. It's like, I'm only gonna get my absolute favorite things.
Yeah.
And then the great part, they were giving you digital copies every time you bought it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
were like me, but I'd often get it and be like, yeah, after, I have the disc. It's like, I have the digital copy.
Yeah.
Maybe
You're
like
right.
find one of these stores you could trade it in or sell them at a garage sale or whatever and make a little cash for something. But then you
Yeah.
have a library of digital content. Watch on
Mm-hmm.
your phone, computer, whatever. And that was kind of the way for a while. This is the way. Great episode tonight, by the way. Don't want to get off topic, but
It was.
right.
It
I
was.
mean, yeah. So what spawned it today? Oh, in game, I keep going back to what spawned it. But gaming became very similar. When the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out that generation, it was new. I remember the first game I bought was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but I had a disc, and then I realized like, I wish I would have bought this digitally because the hard drive's pretty big nowadays. I can keep a decent number of games on it, and I love the idea that I don't have to deal with putting the disc in and out and swapping it. It's there, ready to go,
Yeah.
and I love that idea. And I said, you know what? From here on out, I'm gonna do that. And every game I traded in or sold, I was like, let me just go find if I can find it. I'll find it on Steam, and I'll buy it on Steam for like pennies when they do have a Steam sale.
Always.
Easy,
I
right?
was, I
Always.
was, all, I
Great
was
Steam
all
sale.
for that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
especially with
it's
the
awesome.
games, it was such a convenience not having to
Mhm.
actually put a
So
disc
good.
inside, the
Yeah.
systems anymore. It was
My
simple.
my
I was all
first
for it.
my first eye opener about like digital content was actually started in the Xbox 360, and there's two games. One, Minecraft was like the first introduction to, like, a digital game, because I was like, where can I buy Minecraft? And it says you could buy it right on the console. I'm like, what do you mean you buy it right on the console? I didn't know that was a thing. And I thought it was just Minecraft strictly. I was like, okay, then I guess it was Minecraft. I had Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on a disc, and one day I had a dog that I had headphones in. My dog ran through the cable and
I remember they told
turned
me
my
that.
Xbox. Like she juked it, and the disc was inside. And I was like,
Oh, and it scratched
no,
it.
and it scratched the disc entirely. I was
I
like,
remember that
damn it, bro.
Oh.
So I went in, tried to fix it. It did not work. But Xbox had this feature that if you had the game digitally installed or pre-installed or something like that through another game disc or whatever, or if you had the game physical, like on the actual console itself, then you could fix the disc potentially. All you had to do was like pre-download it. So I got another disc from a friend who had the same game, put it in my Xbox. I downloaded the game digitally, took it out, put my scratched disc in, and it worked. I was like, wow, that's such a interesting feature I had no idea I could do. But ever since then, I don't think I ever bought a physical game in a really long time. Like really long time. I was just
That's a good
straight
story. Why you
digital.
would actually prefer digital?
Because
there
it
you
just,
go.
I got
Yeah.
scared of my physical copy getting ruined. I'd have to go out and buy another one, because that's how it was. You couldn't fix those games back then. So there was a bunch of
Pretty
tricks.
story, yeah.
There was a bunch of different stories of how to fix the scratches, but they never worked.
Fix the disc.
They never
fill
worked.
it with like toothpaste,
Toothpaste,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did I try
Dude,
it? Yes, it didn't work.
Well, that was the beauty. I remember like being an evangelist of digital. I'm telling you guys, get digital. First of all, they're way cheaper all the time. Go to Steam, great stuff. But PlayStation, they'd have the PlayStation Plus games you download or the Xbox Live Gold games
Yeah.
you download for free if you
Yeah.
remember. And it was like, I feel like I have everything I need right here. I didn't want another disc again. In fact, if somehow I got a disc, like through a gift or something, I was like, man, I basically need to buy this digitally and then get rid of the disc because I
Yep.
just don't ever want them again.
Yeah.
I was totally fine with that. That's how it was for years. And I was like, well, this is like very Mandalorian. This is the way. When PlayStation 5 came out and they announced a no disc version, same with the Xbox Series S, I believe.
Yeah.
Which we've got one of those upstairs. They're no disc consoles because they're really pushing it. Now, I've seen the conversations on YouTube and it makes good sense that and I like this too. In fact, let me get one more thing in there. GameStop was a big example of a company out there that was in a lot of ways getting rich off of resale.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to always support the company, the developer, the one making the game. If it's a game I liked, I wanted them to get my money because then if I like the game, that means they're getting paid. They're going to be able to keep the employees funded and make a sequel. I want to show them that encouragement. If you bought GameStop, loved to sell you the used copy, even if it was a new game and someone brought it back, they bought it back in the same day. They'd sell it to you for, if it was a $60 game, they'd sell it to you for 55,
53,
because,
yeah.
Yep. Because that to them, like, well, it's the same game, the same quality, brand new. Look at the disc, perfectly fine. It just doesn't have the seal on it. So yeah, you get it for $5 cheaper. Why wouldn't you want to do that? I remember someone trying at a GameStop trying to work that with me, and I'm like, no, it's $5 more, and I get a copy that's never been touched by me. What if I never want to open it for some reason? If there was that, but again, I wanted to support the developer. I mean, think about right now. If it's EA, so they're gonna get rich off of Madden no matter what. But a game company that's maybe a little more indie, you go buy it from GameStop used, they don't ever see a penny of that money. GameStop gets your money. They keep their retail business open. They keep the lights on and their employees paid so they could peddle the games to you, vice the developer getting it directly.
Yeah.
So that was my reason even back then. It's like, I'm here to support the developer. You buy digital, guess what? They get all of it. GameStop doesn't get a cut of that. It's them and Sony or whoever you're buying it from. They might get a tag of it. Maybe 30-20%. They get a part of it, but a lot more than GameStop. So, for forever, right, guys? That was it. We
Yeah,
were happy with that.
yeah. I mean, that's just you have to move on with technology, and that was just convenient the way it is. The way times are now, it's very
Yeah.
convenient when it comes to movies and
Oh,
games. It's just
another one is TV shows. Now, streaming picked up really hardcore. What 8, 9, maybe 10 years ago? Suddenly, like Netflix was like something we used to try to sell.
Everywhere.
I used to work at
well. For a while, Netflix was the only game in town. They were the
yeah.
only ones that did it. And then it just branched out, and now there's
Uh-huh.
like 7, 10 other
Yep.
streaming services
Well,
that.
shoot. I mean, if we want to have a quick history lesson on Netflix, I used to work at Suncoast Video. Y'all ever heard of that? Suncoast? They
Yeah,
don't exist
Suncoast.
anymore.
Oh yeah,
Used to
God, I
be.
remember that. Yes.
Yeah, God, it's great times in the mall.
Great times,
They eventually got bought up at Best Buy, but Suncoast was like a little store in the mall. Any mall is a chain. And they sold movies you couldn't find, at Walmart, for instance. Back then it was, you go find action comedy. It was like a video rental, but they had old movies too, so great. I
Right.
bought all my movies there. I thought it was so cool. I worked there in college for a little while. And we were, one of the things they made us sell was Netflix, and this was the first time I'd ever heard of it. I was a second year college student, maybe 2001, 2002, and Netflix at the time, I shit you not, if maybe you know this already, but it was like envelopes. You had to sign up for it, and then you'd pick your movies, kind of like Columbia House or something. Pick the movies you want. They'd mail them to you in discs, like DVDs. You'd open it back up. They give you a prepaid envelope. You watch it as long as you want, send it back, and keep trading. And you just paid a monthly membership to do that
That's
as many times as you want.
Yeah.
Is that crazy to think that was Netflix back in the day? And the internet got goodish. And I remember about 2010 was the first time I got Netflix on like streaming and tried it. And we were trying to show my ex-father-in-law. We were gonna watch District 9. That was a new thing back then, and it was like, check this out. And we kept trying, and it was like pause for a little while, and buffer was like, oh, technology, but it's pretty cool, right? It's pretty cool. We don't have to put a disc in there. It's just right there. Yeah, it's neat. I just want it to work better. That was our conversation. So eventually it does work. But movies, I was getting to, streaming shows became such a big thing. You can binge watch. That was a new thing. You couldn't really do that with discs, because you would buy a season and you would get a clunker of a case, which us collector types love that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But like 8-10 discs of one season
It's
of a
just
show.
a solid.
The minimum,
like the Friends and the Sopranos were like this big.
Huge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Huge.
Like it seems like $50 was like a cheap season of a DVD collection back in the day. So digital was one way to just take that burden off your hands. You don't need the big box anymore.
Yep.
You just stream the sucker, and you know what? It's a TV show. You'll probably watch it once, maybe twice in your lifetime tops, and then you're good with it. So who really needs the boxes? It just changed everything.
Yep.
It did.
All right.
It did.
I'm finally going to get to what spawned this tonight, and that would be the 3DS. All right, been sitting here with this whole time, and the Wii U digital eShops, right? Places where you can buy Wii U and 3DS games, closed up 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
On March 27th, 2023. So, what does that really mean? Because you can go buy Zelda on 3DS, if you can find it, but that's just it. They don't manufacture
3DS anymore. No.
Do they? Yeah, I actually don't know. Do they quit making 3DS games?
Yeah, they quit making.
Still make them.
No, they quit. They quit making them. They're strictly just sticking with the Switch stuff now.
There you go. So you're totally going to be buying secondhand or collector physical copies at this point. It's an interest. This isn't the first time this has happened. There's the PlayStation Vita shop has closed already.
Oh yeah, that closed a while back.
Or PSP shop. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of examples.
The Vita, yeah.
Vita or PSP, yeah. So, what's the deal? You can't get games on digital, but you can go buy them physically. So you just got to find it and pay for it. eBay, do that thing. So that's a pain. But then there's the issue of exclusive digital content, right? Stuff you can only get on that experience and nowhere else. So, for example, the 3DS, it has a 3D feature to it, and there's certain games on here. Let's see if I can back up. That I'm gonna see if I can pull one up here while doing this in reverse. Let's see. Can I get it? Yeah, there we go. All right, Afterburner. Get a little sound here. Afterburner, right? Old game, Afterburner 2, actually. Well, this is a 3D port. I'm turning on the 3D real quick. You know, you can't see it. But in short, that's the arcade game, and they've added 3D to it.
Yeah.
You can't just play that on anything. It requires a 3DS. So if you ever want that, it's locked in there. They don't sell that on a cartridge. I think there actually might be a Japanese one, but you get my point. So once it's gone, it's gone. And there's other things like that that have happened in the past, such as this is one I brought up last week actually. The Oculus Rift had a game called a solid, like for VR, I guess you'd call it a AAA VR game.
Yeah.
So it was Marvel Powers United VR, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. And it was multiplayer only, so it depends on a server. We've seen stuff like this happen in the past, sort of with things like Star Wars Galaxies or games that required a multiplayer server and they've been shut down.
Club Penguin. Big one.
yeah. There's think about like, you know, Call of Duty servers and Madden online servers. Every couple of years, there's not enough players and it costs too much to keep that server running. So
I think Halo.
I can get that.
I think one of the Halo servers shut down on Xbox Live, 360 Live or something like that. I don't remember which one.
I believe that. Yeah. So that's almost like the progression of time, and you can never get that stuff back. But then what about a game like this one I'm talking about on VR? I bought it. I paid $40 for it recently. Like it wasn't even like it was 10 years ago. It was when the time came and they actually, Oculus said, we're getting rid of this game because there's some complication with the license. Sorry about that. Bye. And they actually, with an update, uninstalled the game for my computer. Or for my computer, so I could never play it again. That felt like such a, rip. That was the first time I was not cool with digital. And with VR, it's all digital. You can't.
You paid for the game. I mean, you paid
$40.
$40 for the game, and
they did not reimburse
anymore.
No, and reimbursing is one thing. It's like they said we have a plan to reimburse in some way, shape, or form. You know, what kind of ideas do you guys suggest? There was an email and a survey, I think. But yeah, you cannot play that game ever again. It is gone.
Yeah.
I don't know, unless they remade it and put it on another system like, PlayStation VR 2, that has a disc. That would be I would actually like to see that happen. Hopefully they can relive it somehow, but as of right now it's gone and I paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get that back? I mean, to me it's a scary thought that there's media and there's games and stuff out there that are gone. They're lost to history and time, and in other forms of media, physical media especially, it's been archived. Like that is literally, I know we think of the library as just a place to go check out a book when you're in school and you're doing a report, but truly librarians, their jobs are like professional library science. A lot of it is archivists.
Yeah.
They retain stuff in history and they market and catalog it. So if someone's looking for said random NES game, you can go get it from them and check it out and have a copy, and they should have an operating NES for you to try that thing out. That is a cool idea, and I think that's basically happening in a lot of places. But unless they downloaded every game and kept that device alive on a VR headset, you're never going to be able to play Marvel Powers United VR.
Yeah. I'm sure somewhere there's some sort of emulation of that game, probably in a modder's VR library. Yeah. I mean, again,
but what regular person wants to go through all that to actually?
People just do that for anything.
People do it.
People do it.
I do it too. But I mean, if this is some normal schmo who doesn't really know anything about computers or anything like that.
Yeah.
He just wants to play a game. Decades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not really.
So that's where
people it just isn't.
Freaking up a little bit, but that's exactly where I was going to get at. I'm not one to really want to pirate. You heard me just say I like to pay for the developer to give me this. It's like a service. Hey, you're making an awesome game. I will certainly give you money so I can enjoy that. That's food. That's make a car. I'll buy it from you. Pirating though, I feel like if it's the only way to play something because it's that old and you can't find the technology, so you have to use an emulator. At this point, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. If that's how you're gonna do it, you're gonna take my game away. I'm gonna pirate the sucker.
It gets to that point sometimes where it's just so impossible to find a game that you have to emulate it. You have to just.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. One thing that I think we fail to see with digital is that we're losing control, right? Because we don't own the physical copies anymore. So now anyone could just, who owns the rights to anything, or when it comes to movies or games, they could just do whatever they want with it, and we can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's out of our control unless we have the physical media copy of whatever it is that we have or want. It's out of our hands.
There's actually
a scary thought.
There's actually
want it in our hands, literally. Like you have to have it in your hand if you want it. Like
right.
It can't be in cyberspace. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, there's actually another example of what happened with the Marvel game. It actually happened more recent with a game that came out last year.
Really?
Warner Brothers came out with a fighting game called Multiverses. Basically a Super Smash Brothers fighting style game.
I downloaded that game.
It's a free game. That's not the biggest issue, but it lost about 99% of its player community. So roughly about 300 people play the game right now because it's doing really bad. Yeah. So they announced recently that they're going to shut the game down and then they're going to re-release it next year, hoping to get a bigger audience. But it's like, what's stopping just from taking the game away altogether? So exactly. And people download the game for free, yes, but there is actually a group of people who paid money for that game when it comes to founders editions, early collector's editions, just to get extra stuff in the game, more characters to unlock. I was one of those people. I paid $30 to get all the characters and try them all out.
It's like a Warner Brothers version of Super Smash.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Jerry, Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
it was fun. I liked it. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a fun game. Yeah, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. It has, and then they added new characters to it. They added like Rick and Morty, like other much different stuff. So it's like it was a good game concept. It just didn't pick up with the community as much because it's not going to be Smash Bros. It's not going to be like, it tried to be Smash Bros so bad, but it can't meet up to that level of being that good of a fighting game. And the mechanics were a little wonky. It still needed some work, you could tell. But they just recently announced that it was, instead of, oh, just kidding, we're not actually fully releasing this game yet, even though they have like 3 or 4 battle passes already released saying that was fully launched. This was just an open beta. We're going to actually release it in 2024. So yeah, we're closing servers down until then.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they're gonna hope for a better release, and if no one cares about it after the second release, they're probably just gonna shut the whole game down. I wouldn't be surprised. Which is absolutely crazy.
Because a game like that, you could easily. It doesn't really have to be multiplayer. You can have just a regular physical copy of it, just a computer play a 2-player game with someone if you want, instead of playing it online.
Yes, but the thing
like Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, of course. But like Super Smash Bros is a little more capable of being brought into a setting where it's just only no internet. Like you bring the Switch to, or bring whatever Nintendo console you have to a party and just plug in a bunch of controllers and there you go. You don't need any internet whatsoever. This, on the other hand, is a strictly digital game, so it's like you have to have it on a multiplayer server because that's the only way to get to play with other people online. That's really what all it's meant for. So it's like there's
that's the problem.
That's the biggest problem. They really screwed up when they said online multiplayer only. There's no like co-op, like there's no couch.
That's what sells today. You know, it's not the guys who buy it once and then the companies are looking at it too, like, hey, multiplayer has opportunities for me to keep getting money from this thing. That's why they give it to you free. They're expecting you to do what you did and buy $40 worth of content.
They made the game free, but they added battle passes for $10. They added digital content for $30. They add skins and different cosmetic items for $10, $15. That's what's making them money. And if you only have 300 people not buying anything, there's no point in keeping the game open.
Yeah.
Another interesting one that you guys got me reminding of this now is World of Warcraft years back decided we're like, I don't know, 8 to 10 expansions into this story. Because if you play Warcraft, it's periods. You know, you live in this world for a little while, and then in real life, a year or so later, they come up with an expansion pack. And while you can still do this other stuff, there's a new event going on live for this next couple years, and it's this dragon thing or whatever. Let's just say, you know, the Wrath of the Lich King. Then you go fight the Lich King, and he's the big baddie of the game for a while. Then a new expansion comes out, and it's like, well, you can still do the Lich King stuff, but there's a new event. And it just keeps developing. They keep making the graphics better. I mean, the game came out in like 2004. Same year as Galaxies, I think. And it got better. And then finally, some people are like, look, you know, I've jumped in and played Warcraft, they say, you know, 5 years ago. But I'd love to see what it was like when it was just the original one. So they literally restarted it. called it World of Warcraft Classic,
Classic, yeah.
and they brought it back to the old graphics, the old server before any, like the old methods of gameplay. It would be like Galaxy's going like pre-combat upgrade and say, hey, we started from the beginning. And they went about it and said, we're going to go through the same timeline again. So they literally have two different like versions of their servers. One is the modern World of Warcraft, and the other one's the classic one. And the funny thing is, I almost feel like they're starting down the same path now, because I don't know which expansion they're on. I think they're on like the third one or so. And it's like, well, now what about the guy who wants to go back again and start with, World of Warcraft Classic? I think you can do that. I think they allow you to like just stay in that universe and not buy the expansion. But that's one where it's like MMOs, those go away. Phantasy Star Online, EverQuest, I don't know if those are still on, but there's old MMOs that don't, those servers are shot. I will go back to Galaxies because I had so much fun in that one with you, bud. It was our first MMO.
Probably a big game guilty of releasing new content and like not being able to play the old content is probably a game I used to play a lot, but I don't play anymore. Is Destiny 2 specifically. Destiny 2. Destiny, when Destiny 1 came out, I loved it. I loved every expansion. I thought they were gonna just piggyback off Destiny 1 and just make that the biggest thing. Destiny 2 came out and I was just like, okay, whatever.
I was pissed.
I was also pissed.
You said 10-year game. You said 10-year game. I was expecting Destiny with nothing but expansions like Warcraft for 10 years.
But man, Destiny 2 really ruined it for me because the main story was short and then they just piggybacked off so many DLCs. I can't keep up. I just simply could not keep up. I stopped after like the second one or third one maybe because it was just
can't keep up.
Yeah, right. They felt, I'm not even gonna try. Like,
to me, they felt uneventful. It was like I'm paying $30 for this DLC for this game just for a 2-hour story. Like, and it really did not feel like. I mean, maybe just me. I know other people love like doing, but it was either do the 2-hour story, finish that, or get 6 of your friends, which no one is usually available, or 6 people who play this game nonstop and do a 12-hour raid. Who has time for that? Like it's like it's impossible to do that. It's crazy to me that it's either you have 2 options: play a really boring story or grind the heck out of this one mission just to get a really good piece of armor or a really good weapon, and then you have to do it again to get the other piece. And it's just like I don't want to do that. I'm so done with that. Like, I don't want to do that. There's so many better games out there you could grind out for like 30 minutes and get equivalent better gear for that game. Destiny is just one of those games that I don't have the patience for anymore.
I mean, kind of an off topic, but that model of a game I think Destiny was the last time I tried that, and I was like, I like Destiny, and then I was like, oh, I'm kind of getting sick of this over and over. All we do is grinding, as you said.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember I beat the first one, and I think I played it a couple times with you, Red.
Yeah, we definitely did. Maybe even I'm not sure, but
I got you. I got you the expansion for it, Buck. The fallen the king the Taken King. Taken King. That's what it was. Yeah.
Taken King. I actually beat. There were the first 2 expansions. I remember had a Roman numeral 1 and 2. I don't think the Taken King is the one I'm thinking of. There was like something of the wolves.
Oh yeah, the Iron Banner, the Iron Banner and the something wolves, something like that. But that was Destiny 1.
Yeah.
That was Destiny 1.
Yeah, the original Destiny. Yeah,
and
I played the first 2 little expansions.
Yeah, those were the first stories. Those like the mini expansions, and then Taken King was like a whole other thing.
You're right.
Yeah,
and I didn't even get to Taken King. I just did the first 2 minis, and I remember it took me years to finally get to the second one. I had a buddy that actually got online with me, and he and his wife both got on, so I could see the end of that one of something of the wolves. I cannot remember it.
Yeah, anyway. I remember that. I remember Taken King. Yeah, I remember when Taken King came out. It wasn't just like the expansion; it was the whole game again. So like technically, it was just buying Destiny again with the expansion.
They changed some of the system, like the light. I try to remember what it was called, but like the light levels or system was new.
Yeah, the leveling system changed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the armor system.
I was like, I think I'm out. Yeah, I think I'm done.
They did it again in Destiny 2. I'm just like, so everyone's just the same level now, and then it's like so every time a new season of Destiny starts up again, they basically boost everyone up to the same level, and then they progress 40 points. So I'm just like, so you don't have to try level up, you just wait till the season's over. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever.
Great topic for another day, but yeah, we've definitely gotten away from the digital.
Well, that's still digital. Like, it's a shame that like a digital copy of something can progress so far, and it just makes you not want to play it because of how much it's progressed.
Well, here's another thing. Let's just say, okay, you know what? No big deal. I got a disc copy of Destiny. No problem. I'll just play that.
It wouldn't make a difference.
I don't think. Well, would it? Because don't you have to be online to play Destiny? It is not a I think you have to be online to play Destiny, don't you?
You do.
So if the server goes down one day and they're like, "We're done. We turn it off. It's over."
Yeah.
That game is now just a coaster. It's a collector's item.
I just thought of one.
What?
The first Overwatch. The first Overwatch is
gone.
It's gone. So if you have the physical copy of Overwatch, it's useless. You literally can't play it anymore.
Jeez.
Yep.
The second Overwatch 2 came out, Overwatch 1 was done. So
we used to like that one. Me and the ex would play that a good bit. That was like her favorite Blizzard game.
It's a good it's still a good game. It's just the community is just like not the best.
And things change. I remember even in Overwatch, it was like they'd add levels, they'd add new characters, and change levels and change characters' abilities. Like that's when
nerfing and buffing came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they nerfed what's her girl, and they nerfed this person. And
they do complete character reworks.
Yeah. This is totally a new game now. I feel like, man, I had this great power, and now I can't use that anymore.
In the games I played today, they're constantly changing because of digital nerfs, buffs, content. That's just the new way of digital content.
It is. And one other frustrating thing, y'all aren't gonna believe this. You think even a single player game, you think I got the disc, I'm safe. Check this shit out. I've not experienced this myself. Maybe I haven't, I didn't realize it. But these days, you buy a game on a disc, you put it in your console, and what is the first thing it always does, right? These days, you put it in there, what happens? It updates.
Yeah.
All right, it updates. And I've learned that some games coming out here, I can't remember if maybe I heard it was a Call of Duty not that long ago. The whole game isn't on the disc. They get it in there, and it like assigns it to your console and says, "Oh, you bought this, got it. It's assigned to your account now. We'll download the rest of the game from the server now." So you couldn't even like if years from now the server's gone, you put that game in there, it doesn't have the disc. It doesn't have the game on the disc. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, most discs you put in, they're just
download it from the store. It's literally like it's like almost like a ticket that you get. It's scanned, so it starts downloading it for you instead of just downloading it straight from the console.
I wonder how many people would actually notice that though. Like they actually think they have the physical copy, and technically they really don't.
No,
it's just permission.
You have a physical copy, a permission.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
permission
a ticket. That's all it is. It's like a ticket. Right,
it's
right.
Scary.
So,
it's like
it'd still be useless if a server goes down, even if the physical disc. It means jack shit.
Yeah.
One day when the internet's busted, and I've seen that from other YouTube videos, so I've not actually tried. I have no idea if it's worked myself. I don't usually buy a lot of new games, but maybe one of the games you guys have is like that. I mean, I'd be curious to check out, like, basically unplug your internet or not connect your console to your internet and get a new game, put it in there and see if it says like an update is required. Connect to your internet, and if that's the loop you keep going in, then you're screwed. Like, oh yeah, that's done.
Even games that have been out for a really long time, they're still getting updates. It's really strange. Like single player games, for example, Jedi Fallen Order. That game came out years ago, and I opened it up the other day, and it says wait for an update. I'm like, what do you mean wait for an update? This game's been out forever. What is the update for?
I mean, if they're always improving the game, I think that's great because that's putting money. I'm not sure how they're making money then because that's like no one's buying that game anymore. Maybe $5 a piece.
Yeah, it's been free like 3 or 4 times, and it's.
Well, you know what's funny? There's some games still there. I mean, I'm shocked. It's still on. Like as far as in service, like Left 4 Dead 2 came out 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, people love that game. Yeah,
people love that game. I mean, I just got it the other day.
4, 5, 6.
And it's crazy. People love that game.
Shoot, I'm gonna go play that sucker.
I mean, CS:GO is an original shooter, and it's been out for years, and it's a classic when it comes to shooters.
Another Valve game,
tactical shooters. I mean, it's Valve, yeah. It's Valve, but they came out with it free like 3 years ago. But the thing that makes that game money is the unboxing of knives and guns, and just that game makes money purely off microtransactions. So that's the reason why that game's making money.
Well, digital games, that's something, and gaming has become so huge. I mean, we know this. It's a big part of your life, Marco, and it was a big part of ours growing up, but like today it's it's Hollywood blockbuster money making type stuff. You can make more money off a game these days than a movie sometimes.
Yeah, honestly, the gaming industry is so huge.
It's gigantic. Yeah. I mean, You can definitely, if you're that kid nowadays, you're like, I like to play games. Like, you could probably go find a job in gaming somewhere because in our day it was like a hard, like you've got to have your shit together if you're gonna go try to work for Nintendo or something. Now it's kind of like not the worst idea. It's a pretty epic industry. So
It is.
Yeah, you can just make an app of a game and
yeah, if you're that inventive,
So,
there's a lot
sure,
of small developers out there that make awesome games. Awesome games.
So that brings up another games on your phone. That's a big one I've learned. I've had experiences where I've lost because let's say iPads, iPhones, I know like same with Droid, Android. After a while, a game you bought, in 2014, that game stopped at like, the iPhone 7 or something. And unless you have an iPhone 7, you're not playing that game because it won't even appear in the store on a new iPhone. Or it goes the same with the Droid, the Google Store and stuff like that. So an example the other day I came across when all this is going on, I was like, how many other digital things have I lost here? And Avatar on James Cameron's Avatar on iPhone is actually, if you go look, there's a whole bunch of Avatar games. Remember I showed you the Wii one the other day, and they say actually because that was a game made by Gameloft, who made a lot of iPhone and Android games back in those days.
I remember this game.
And and it's the only way to play that game, and it's a touchscreen, so you can't just go emulate that and play it on your computer. It's like, well, what am I fucking supposed to do here? So it's on an old iPad I have. I only have one iPad, and it's like
I had it on an iPad
Mini.
too.
Yeah, iPad Mini 2. It's pretty crappy. Like the thing barely keeps a charge, and it doesn't work very well.
I think mine was on an original iPad. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's an older version of an iPad, but it's I downloaded it and I was able to play some of it. As soon as I hit the pause menu, it closes. It
closes.
The game. I can't even get it to save. So it just shows that it's like the hardware is not going to hold up forever. This game is trapped on this shitty iPad I have. And that's the only way you're ever going to play that damn game. This new iPhone, it's not even on the store. You can't even. It won't show up. So stuff like that is lost in history, and it's like, how do you keep this stuff? So I guess to do a quick transition here, Buck's got a very interesting story. Actually, before we get into that, let me talk about something. Remember, I brought the DVDs of Star Wars not that long ago.
Yeah.
This is when I started getting into this again. I actually didn't know the 3DS shop was closing, but for like over a decade now, I've wanted the original Star Wars movies on something digital, like as in, and I say digital, I don't mean VHS tape. I want a disc.
Physical. I mean, you mean physical.
You cannot today, to my knowledge, I've looked and looked and looked. The original trilogy is not on Blu-ray. It's not in HD. So the best I've found, and I got lucky finding it at a used store, is a DVD copy of the original trilogy with, Han shooting first and none of the special features or special edition stuff from the 90s that George Lucas made. God bless old Lucas there, but some of this stuff was cool. Some of it is like, I'd just rather hear Yub Nub. And I don't want that lost in history. I've got the VHSs, but I don't have a VCR anymore either. So, I picked those up going, yes, I've got these now forever. I don't have to depend on Disney re-releasing them one day and having it only trapped on Disney Plus. It's another thing. Let's just say I wanted to watch Andor sometime in the future. Well, it's on Disney Plus. Is it going to be on anything else? Can I buy a disc one day?
Yeah.
Maybe. So, all right. Buck, tell us about when you were a young man and your young boy, I should say, maybe 7 years old.
No, here's the thing. This is where the physical media got to me, where I realized the importance of it, because I was all I was all in with you guys. Digital was the way to go. This is the future, and I understood it. I had a huge collection of DVDs and Blu-rays that are just sitting in storage now, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'll ever have any use for this ever again. There's so many streaming services out there that it's why do we need physical copies anymore?
Right? Yep.
So going back to 2020, this is when Disney Plus was about to come out, premiere. I was excited for it. I think a lot of people were excited because we get to see all the Disney vaults and all these shows that and movies.
Mandalorian just came out.
Years. So I was excited. First week, Disney Plus. I'm sitting there, and I'm going through the library, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see. their movie library, see what they have, and I come upon Splash, and Splash was a movie that I loved in the '80s. One of my favorite movies of the '80s. I hadn't seen it in years, but I used to watch it all the time as a kid. And Tom Hanks, uh, Daryl Hannah, she was a mermaid, and I play it, and I'm sitting on the couch watching it, and there is a scene. Now I know this movie frame by frame because I saw this movie over and over again as a kid.
Which is what we did as kids.
This is what we did as
movie,
kids, yeah.
And you didn't get too many new movies.
For me, watching movies was my internet. This was my escapism. Yeah. It just was.
Yeah.
So, watching movies toward the beginning, if people haven't seen it, Daryl Hannah at one point saves Tom Hanks from drowning. He falls off a boat, and he comes to in the sand, and he sees Daryl Hannah behind a rock. And she doesn't speak or anything. And then she comes out, and I noticed something different. And I was like, I was like, like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme that you see out there, like, oh. This is exactly this is exactly what I did. Whoa. So, in that scene, when she comes around the rock, you could see her bare ass. It was just, because she's naked. You don't see her full nudity. It's a PG movie, right? But you see the back of her ass because she's naked. She's not in the water.
I remember that. Yeah.
Right.
I actually remember that. Yeah.
So what they did was they enhanced her because she had long blonde hair, and they just added digitally, extra hair to cover her ass. And so when that happened, I called it out. I noticed the difference right away, and I'm like, wait a minute, whoa, what's going on? My ex-wife's sitting, on the other side of me. She goes, "What's wrong?" I'm like, they messed with it. They altered this movie. They literally enhanced her hair, like made it longer to cover her ass. And she's like, "No, they didn't." Like, yeah, they did. I saw this movie quite often as a kid.
I could have said, like, no, how would they do that? This is an old movie, yeah.
Right. And she's like, "You're just a pervert. You just want to see her ass." I'm like, you know what? That's a conversation for another day. I'm speaking facts here. Okay.
You're like, point, but.
Yeah. I'm like, that's not the point, man. They're messing with art. So now it got me. So I dropped it because I know it was right.
It's sensory. And
I knew. And this was the first week of Disney Plus, and I'm like, something's gonna happen because I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. 3 months later, it comes out. Disney Plus is actually altering some of the movies they have in the library, and Splash was on the list, and I'm like, I told you. Yep. I knew it. Now, not only that, Gone with the Wind, all these things that
The Office.
Really?
Now, today's time, that's somewhere else, but apparently some of the movies and shows in today's culture and time, they would find offensive. So they are changing up and editing out some of those scenes that would make some people feel uncomfortable in today's time. And I saw that, and I'm like, you know what? This is wrong. And this is where physical media is important to have the actual, because if they're going to do this with everything now, I mean, look, let's say Sopranos, my favorite show of all time. What if for some reason in today's culture, today's time, the word gabagool becomes offensive? Gabagool becomes offensive. And they go back and basically take that word out because they find it offensive. And they change it. And they change it up. I know it's a stupid comparison, but
it could be anything.
This is where we're headed, though. Another one, Entourage. I love Entourage. I love Entourage, and I have.
Oh yeah.
I remember I bought the DVD for 3 seasons. Right.
Male chauvinist show too. They will totally.
I'm actually shocked they haven't taken it off HBO. I'm still shocked it's still there.
HBO is quite the sexual content.
Yeah.
Service.
For now.
But
you're right. At any moment, it could, they change in leadership or something, and they're like, I don't see the need in having Vincent Chase, exploit it. This is a bad show. Right. We should take it off of existence or edit it to the point of not the same.
Not just that, and The Office, stuff like that. I only have 3 seasons of Entourage on DVD. I don't have the rest. Now, if they ever decide to take that show off completely, I'll never see that show again. It's gone.
I traded those in. I had all these physical things, and there's a great store called Second and Charles, owned by Books A Million, and they let you buy back stuff, and you get store credit. You can get cash, but you get like double store credit, and there's cool shit in there. There's like a lot of just neat things. I'd take the kids in and trade in $100 worth of stuff and buy them amiibos, like new amiibos, but that was kind of their deal. Is like they buy it from you for like $1, $2, but if you have
Yeah.
100 DVDs, you're like, I just got $60 in store credit. Why? That's something.
All right.
Yeah, but that's a lot of these places now will take that. I don't know how they're gonna make money anymore because with streaming, they're just getting higher stacked and
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it makes me want to go to a place like that though and rebuy everything I've
Me too.
traded in, like
Me too.
Entourage and
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I'm
Because
gonna go do that.
it's a scary thing because a lot of these movies and shows that I grew up with, it could be in danger. You never know if they can do this, and our only alternative is to watch these movies and shows on digital.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a scary thought.
Yeah.
So now it comes to like now I kind of want to go and buy these physical copies when they're available now because it's not a good thing, man.
Yeah.
Long story short, I have become now a physical media guy again. I thought I was good to go on digital, but when these shops start closing down, and you've got that's the end of that. You're not going to have this anymore. I mean, let's just face it, Zelda 3D, you can go buy that today. It's probably like $30-$40, but in a year or two,
Probably more,
I bet it's
yeah.
going to be like $80. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's just going to keep going higher and higher and higher.
Nintendo games always bounce up in value, no matter what.
Yeah, I've been kind of having this recognition of like, you know what? I have the power to do it now. I've been collecting old stuff. You've been seeing. I've opened some of it here on the show because it's fun. It's like, oh look, remember these things? And I feel like an old man, but it's yeah. I don't want the government taking my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much. I'm still in this stage of like digital. I'm still okay with for the most part. Probably because it doesn't affect me more in the entertainment of like movies and shows. It affects me more in the area of games, especially digital. So when I go to a store like the Epic Game Store, for example, it's been up for like, it's a relatively newer game store.
4 years, maybe
4 or 5 years. Yeah. So they're one of the only stores that actually comes out with a free game at least once every 2 weeks, at least. And these, I'm talking about some really good games too.
Yeah. I think it's like every 6 days they give you a new one, whether it's a indie or
And I was actually adding up the total amount of games I've got on Epic Games that I didn't pay for. I think I'm close to 200 total, and I've skipped a few. I know I have. And some of these games are the Batman Arkham games, the GTA 5, Tomb Raider, Jedi Fallen Order. I think I got that on free from there too. A lot of games I've gotten for free. The first one, Subnautica, I think was like the first game they ever released or something like that. And that's a great underwater adventure game. I mean, again, digital when it comes to the aspect of
good VR game.
Yeah, digital in the sense of discount is great. You could save a lot of money when it comes to getting digital content, and that's not only on games, that's on entertainment too, because they always have digital sales on whatever, not only streaming, but like if you want to buy an actual digital movie on like Google App Store or Apple App Store, whatever it is, they have discounts on there too,
right there. And it's instant. You don't have to go to the store. You're like, oh, it's 10 o'clock at night and I want to watch Jay and Silent Bob.
So if you're not a stickler for the content remaining the same, then go digital. But if when you're someone who wants to see the nostalgic view of the old content again, then
there's really not an option, really.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like new stuff. I mean, digital's the only way to go.
Yeah.
Really, it's not. I mean, like Andor, for example. Right now, there's no Andor 3D. Right?
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
not sure there will be.
No.
And there's no digital even ownership. Like you can't even buy it. So, but here's the thing, Marco. Like my fear is, and I thought of another example where this happened the other day. 2 more game examples. Star Trek Bridge Crew. That was a VR only game.
Yeah.
It disappeared for a while from the store. And my buddy was saving to get an Oculus Quest, and he's a Trekkie. And he was so stoked. He literally bought it, gets on there to download it, and he's like, I can't find it. Where is it? I was like, oh, it's on there. I've got it. And we were like, what the hell? I look it up, and it's like the week before they took it down off the digital store. And I was like, what? It was gone. You couldn't buy it. Now, it had to do with the licensing, and they got it back on there eventually. But that just goes to show. I've seen that with the Stranger Things season 3 game.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that Stranger Things
Yeah.
little pixelated
yeah.
looking
That's
game?
right. Yeah.
It disappeared for a while too. You couldn't get it, and like the physical copy, the limited run version was like $200, maybe still is.
Yeah.
It's like, geez. So it's one of those that was an Epic Games free game, and I was like, I got on Epic Games. Thank God. This is awesome. So I've got it now. Anyway, that's what I was gonna say. Is what happens when that Epic Games Store? You're like, hey, I've got 300 free games. Awesome. They're mine forever.
Yeah.
And then one day you get on there and you go to download it, and they're like, we folded up. You can't unless you have it on your computer, you can't play it again. And then hopefully your computer hard drive lasts forever, because that's the only place you're gonna have it. So digital can go away. It's not invincible.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, all of it can. Even physical disc, you can scratch your disc and it's ruined. But hardware can get ruined. Disc players, DVD, Blu-ray players, the little tray can burn out the motor on it. You have to replace the bands. I bought an old Xbox and the damn drawer wouldn't open. I was like, what? I had to take it back. And they bought the next one. They demonstrated from me. It works. I was like, okay, good. I take it home, open it, halfway and it dies. I'm like, shit. So you end up having to become like a true hobbyist. So like, okay, I have to look at how to fix my Xbox hard drive, because this is going to keep happening. It turns into, the disc didn't read on this old PlayStation 2.
I did that on my PlayStation 3. On the the Blu-ray tray wasn't working. DVDs worked fine, but the actual PlayStation 3 games and Blu-ray movies were not playing. So I actually had to look up how to fix it. I opened it up, and then there was just a little spot you had to clean inside the thing to read the Blu-rays. I put it back and it was fine.
The little lens. The optic lens.
That's where I started getting into hardware, like fixing hardware parts a lot. That was
Sometimes
like 16 or something like that, and I just wanted to get into it. So
and that's where it comes down to, like, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. F it, I'll emulate it. Who's like, there's no PS2 game. No one's suffering for me not buying a PS2 game, somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're selling it digitally, great, which they have been selling. PlayStation does sell a few PS2 games, for example, but they don't have all of them. Like Obi-Wan, that's an Xbox disc game only. Xbox original disc game only. That's the only way you're gonna play that game, is if you have the disc and an old Xbox. It's not backwards compatible on 360.
I don't know what happens.
There you go. Yeah. So, yeah, guys. I guess it's pretty much the topic. But digital and physical, you got to be ready to accept loss and the fact that you might not have this stuff forever. So. Be a collector. Don't be a collector. Just realize you may not ever get it again in the way you had it.
Yeah.
So. All right. Anything else?
That's all I can say about that.
I think we covered the topic pretty well.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We will see you guys next time. Adios.